Take a wintry walk in the woods while staying warm in your studio with this snowy landscape project. This project will explore working thicker to create a sense of depth and varied perspective from different angles in the finished object. To make this project, you will create two pieces of custom art glass. The first using a stencil and frit powder to create a cabin on turquoise green transparent. The other will use black frit powder on white sheet glass to make a pattern that will eventually become birch trees. You will also need a small piece of 9661 white-gray transparent prisma and 5 pieces of clear glass to create the depth in the finished object. Patterns for this tutorial are available on the Wissmach website. Let's start by making our cabin. Notice that I've traced borders on the glass. These border areas will eventually need to be cut off later in the project. I've also traced approximately where my hill will be. This allows me to line up my stencil. I want to place the base of the cabin slightly below this line. I raise my glass off of the table to make it easier to pick up and maneuver. I've cut my stencil out of cardboard and I've attached pieces of tape as handles. I place the base of the cabin just below the line I drew for the hill. To apply the powder, I will use a powder sifter. For the cabin, I'm using 9640 orange-red frit powder. Always wear an N95 mask when working with frit powder. Sift an even coating of frit powder, then gently remove the stencil using the tape handles. Remove any unwanted powder with a brush and place the glass on your kiln shelf. Next, I'll make the birch tree patterns on white glass. Lightly sift black powder across the surface of the glass, but you do not need to fully cover it. Use a piece of cardboard or a dull razor to make marks across the white glass. Make the marks randomly, trying to expose the white glass in organic ways. Leaving the black frit powder and mostly horizontal marks on the glass will result in a more natural birch tree-like pattern. Fire the birch tree and the cabin glass using the following schedule. Now let's start to create our landscape. The first step in creating our landscape is to cut the rounded edges from the transparent blue glass and the white glass. For the transparent blue glass, I'll cut it to the expected size of my finished project, which is approximately 5¼ by 4. Since the white glass is much larger, I'll cut ½ inch from every edge. This will leave me with plenty of pattern variety when cutting my birch trees. Redraw a line where the hill will be, then cut along the line. Lay the transparent blue glass with the cabin on the piece of prisma and trace the hill line. Score along the line. Now trace both birch templates on pieces of clear glass. You can arrange the layers any way you'd like in your project. Labeling which part of each sheet will be the birch trees will keep the pieces organized once they're cut apart. Place the non-birch tree pieces to the side for now. Look at your piece of white glass and see where you want to cut the birch trees from. Having a larger piece of glass gives you more options, and you can save some for another project. I cut the piece of white glass to be 5¼ inches wide. Next, I'll trace where I want my birch trees to come from and cut the pieces to make the trees. Add the pieces of birch tree to the pieces of clear that you set aside, and now you have a layer of your project. Repeat the process with the second layer of clear glass traced with birch trees. Now I'm ready to assemble. I'm laying the project on papyrus paper. Because the glass will be 18 millimeters thick, I'm using prime dams to restrict the flow of the glass during the firing. You can also line your dams with fiber paper instead of using primer. The bottom layer of the project will be the cabin and the hill. The second layer will be a piece of clear glass. Layer 3 is the first birch tree layer. Layer 4 and 5 are two more pieces of clear glass. The final layer is the second birch tree layer. After laying all the glass, place the dams around the piece in a pinwheel formation, leaving approximately a 16th of an inch gap between the dams and the glass. This space will help minimize the formation of needle points on the fired piece. Place kiln bricks behind the dams and fire using the following schedule, which is available on the Wissmach website. The added thickness creates a landscape that provides a different view of the scene from every angle. Also, at approximately 5/8 inch thick, it may be suitable to stand up on its own without the help of a plate stand. I do have a few needle points, but a wet diamond pad will make quick work of those. Working with thicker objects offers a great deal of design potential. I hope this video inspires you to think beyond 6mm projects while staying warm in your studio. Happy kiln forming!